Let me take a moment to inform all subscribers and listeners that I have entered Norm Nathan's Vault of Silliness in a nice niche comedy category for a Podcast Tonight award. You will see some official badging in places, as well as hear an announcement. Hey, you know what? Why don't I play that right now?
This is an official announcement from the Podcast Tonight Awards. Your favourite show that you're listening to right now has been officially nominated for a Podcast Tonight award. But the power is in your hands. Amongst other categories, this show is in the running for the prestigious Listener's Choice Award, and they need your vote to win. You can show your support and help them get the recognition they deserve. The link to vote is in their show notes and bio. Go now and make your voice heard. This has been a message from Podcast Tonight, celebrating the best in audio.
That link is below to cast your vote. I would be just so darn appreciative if you would. It is getting slightly more difficult to match dates and even some months with the current calendar. That doesn't mean we are not short on episodes. Far from it. It's simply that some months may be running low or dates end up spread throughout a month instead of the same week. For example, we may hear a February show in January or an August one in September. Methinks we've done pretty darn well so far, but I wanted to let you all know. Okay, today we have a Norm Nathan show from December 9th and 10th, 1995. I have titled it, Yodel Rad-ee-O-hoo. Our first guest was Dr. Myles Bader, author of 6001 Food Facts and Chef Secrets. The title is self-explanatory, and he shares some of those, as well as takes calls from Jeff, Bridget from Timmons, Ontario, Canada, Bruce in Boston, Sam from Newton, Katie in Boston, who suspiciously sounds like Kristen from Dorchester, Dieter from Maryland, Alan Everett, Ronnie from Pennsylvania, and a mystery caller. The next segment is some miscellaneous stuff with calls from Bob and Ingeborg, who plays some yodeling song that has Norm breaking up. Then we hear from Larry, and then there's a caller with some Ben and Jerry info. And then there's Jack Hart, squeezed in here with conversation and a traffic report, whose sponsor was the Wentworth Gallery. We move on to December 10th with guests Kathleen Brady, author of Lucille, The Life of Lucille Ball, and Rick Wyman, author of For the Love of Lucy, which is a collector's guide. These were excellent guests and an enjoyable interview by Uncle Norm. They asked some Lucy trivia and take calls from Linda in Watertown, Eddie from Chelsea, Kristen, oh there she is, in Dorchester, Carol from Baltimore, Maryland, Steve in Dedham, Estelle from Newton, Pan in Everett, and Dee Dee from Charleston, West Virginia. Again, please check out the link for the Podcast Tonight Awards and vote for the vault. Episode 264, Yodel Rad-ee-O-hoo, vocalizes its way to your ears now.
2001 Food Facts and Chef Secrets, and as Myles Bader points out, this is not a cookbook, but all kinds of tips on just about everything, well, you can imagine, and over 6,000 Food Facts and Chef Secrets, you get an awful lot of information, and a lot of it is absolutely fascinating. May I call you Myles? Would that be okay?
Of course.
You can call me Norm, too. When you get to be my age, somehow you feel I can get away with certain... The only advantage is calling people by their first name, and they don't seem to be terribly offended. But we talked once before when you had the 4001 Food Facts book out, and you've obviously been quite busy compiling a whole lot more, and it's fascinating stuff that you have. The book is divided into a number of areas. I should be asking you to respond to all this instead of my trying to explain it, but I did look through it, and I found it just a whole lot of intriguing things. I don't know where to begin, so why don't you, if you would, I would appreciate it.
Well, sure. What the book is basically is it's a kitchen reference book, and it's your grandmother's and great-grandmother's secrets that most people have forgotten through the years and really weren't passed down through the family the way they should be. Also, it's 450 chef secrets from chefs all over the world. So it's not a recipe or cookbook, as you mentioned, but basically a kitchen reference book. And it'll sit on the kitchen counter. It'll never hit the bookcase. You won't bake a cake, make cookies. You won't bake a roast. You won't even go choose fresh fish in the supermarket before looking in the book. In fact, I got a letter from Julia Child, who's right up in your area,
Yes.
about a week ago, and she loved the book, wants to have me on the Today Show with her. Just gone crazy over it.
Oh, that's good, because I found it intriguing. I'm trying to find some of my little markings here. Some things that I found particularly interesting. Let me just mention the baking soda. See, notice that's my name with an accent. Baking soda. You have thousands of uses for that. It's like a house just is not complete without that. What are some of the uses for that, for example?
Oh, gosh. You can do just about anything with it, from cleaning the chrome on your car to cleaning, just about anything in the house. It's a mild abrasive.
And using it for toothpaste also.
You can use it for toothpaste. You can use it for about anything. And, of course, this time of year, we usually give out a lot of Christmas holiday-related tips that are in the book. If you'd like, we can hit some of those.
Right. I just wanted to mention, just before we close the book on the baking soda, you say a small amount of baking soda applied to your armpits will replace your deodorant. I mean, you have a lot of things like that in the book that I find interesting.
Well, it's got a lot of fun things. The first chapter, in fact, is strictly fun, miscellaneous facts. Not really related to eating or food, but just fun, like how to make Play-Doh and bubble solution for the kids, or how to pour soda over ice cubes without it fizzing up over the top of the glass, and even crazy things. Anything to do with the refrigerator or range is in the book. And one of the things is why you should put your pantyhose in the freezer for the first night.
Okay, now why should you?
Well, next time you buy pantyhose, put them in the freezer for the first night. Leave them in the package, and it'll strengthen the fibers, and they won't run as easily. You just make sure you thaw them out before you wear them, unless you're having trouble waking up in the morning.
Okay, all right. Now you were mentioning the holiday questions.
Right.
Things you can do for a holiday.
Got a lot of great things for the holidays.
Okay, like removing saltiness from a ham.
Right. Next time you're making a ham, what you need to do is cook it the way you normally cook it. Take it out of the oven when it's half done. Pour whatever liquid is off, drain it thoroughly, pour a small bottle of ginger ale over the ham. Then continue cooking it for the balance of the time. That'll take the saltiness out. Now, if you've got a really heavily salted Virginia cured ham, something like that, and you're really concerned about it, rub salt on the outside of the ham as well as the ginger ale. The salt will help draw the salt water out of the inside of the ham, and the ham will be much less salty.
Okay, and you have a number of tips on cooking the turkey, of course, which would be the main part of the meal.
Oh, we've had a lot of fun with turkey. In fact, I had a woman call me a few days ago. I gave my turkey tips on a show in her area before Thanksgiving, and she'd been cooking turkeys for her family for 40 years, and she cooked her turkey upside down, as I suggested, for the first hour. And she cooked a 31-pound bird, and she had to call me and tell me that her family, after 40 years, told her it was the best turkey, the moistest white meat, and the best bird they have had in 40 years.
Oh, that's just lovely.
You turn the bird right side up after the first hour, so you don't have a lot of liquid residue building up. But it really bastes the breast naturally for the first hour.
Okay, you have a number of suggestions about turning things upside down. Besides the turkey, what are some of the other things you turn upside down, and why do you do that?
Well, we visited chefs from all over the world to get the secrets to their recipes. No recipes, but just the secrets, how they did things better. And we went into their kitchens. We saw a lot of their foods turned upside down, and we really couldn't figure out why. It turns out it reduces the effects of oxidation and helps retain the flavor in the food better. Cottage cheese is a very good example. When you open cottage cheese, little spores get in there from the air, and they live on the oxygen layer when you close it up. And by the date on the bottom or a few days afterward, it gets moldy if you don't eat it, and you throw it away. If you turn your cottage cheese upside down, shake it a little bit, allow it to fall to the top, which is the bottom now, you eliminate a lot of the oxygen layer. The spores can't grow as fast, and the cottage cheese will last about 7 to 10 days past the expiration date. In fact, that'll work with any food that'll move in the container. In fact, I should mention the new book has hundreds of new baking tips, and especially why you should not use all-purpose flour when you're baking cakes, things that people really aren't familiar with.
Now, why should you not use all-purpose baking flour?
Well, A lot of people tend to, well, when they're making a cake, it says use cake flour, but all they have in the house is all-purpose flour, and they use it anyway. However, all-purpose flour is a blend of hard and soft wheat flours. Cake flour is only soft wheat flour. It makes a much more crumbly texture to the cake. You have a much better product. You'll never find a pastry chef using all-purpose flour when he bakes a cake. It's the same with pie crust. You should use lard instead of shortening or butter. And a lot of people may cringe because I'm a health educator and mentioning lard, but in moderation, it's not going to be a big deal. And it makes a much flakier pie crust. And lard actually has 3 times the polyunsaturates as butter. So it really makes a much better product. Okay. And we got some great tips on potatoes in there.
Yeah, I'll get to that in just a second, but you also have interesting things like, for example, Crisco can be used as a makeup remover.
Right.
I mean, I don't think anybody would have thought of that except you. How do you come across these things, Myles?
Gosh. Over the 20-year period I've been in practice, my patients knew I was interested in these type of facts, and they kept bringing me in their grandmother's and great-grandmother's secrets, and I just kept compiling them over the 18 years. And one of my patients finally talked me into putting them all together in a book about 3 years ago, and we put out the 4001 book, and that book ended up as the second best Christmas present book, most popular Christmas present in the United States last year by Book of the Month Club. It came out number 2 for paperbacks. This year, this new book is destined to be number 1 book Christmas present. And we're going to do something very special for your audience, Norm.
Yeah.
Your last show I did there was one of our biggest shows we have ever done in the United States. And I don't do this for very many shows. I can't afford to. I'm going to autograph every single book if they mention your name when they call in. And I will even personalize it if they want it for a Christmas present. And that'll take me a lot of time.
Excellent. Let's. I guess. I hope it will.
I know it will. It's the last show.
If it doesn't, I think I'll resign and quit the whole broadcast.
Oh, don't do that.
Okay. Now there's a number that you're going to suggest that people call if they want, and that's
Sure.
It's an 800 number.
It's 1-800-717-6001. That's 1-800-717-6001. In fact, we'll even give a discount if they buy more than one book for a Christmas present, as well as the autographing and personalizing them.
Okay, well, if they call that 800 number, do they get a real person there?
They will if they call probably within the next hour to an hour and a half. Otherwise, they need to call in the morning.
Okay.
It's getting a little late.
No, I know this is not I wasn't even thinking about people calling now, but
So tonight there'll be somebody there for about the next hour and a half, and then it'll be after 9 o'clock Pacific time tomorrow. There'll be a full staff there.
Is that during the week also after 9 o'clock Pacific time, which would be noon here?
Right.
Anytime during the afternoon. Then 1-800-717-6001.
And they'll be in tomorrow.
Okay, anybody has a problem with the number, just give me a call later or write to me and I'll send you the number. But let me mention just a couple other things, and we'll go on to the potatoes.
Okay, and I'd like to give some books away, too.
Okay, now how would we do that?
Well, you have call-ins on your show?
Yes.
Okay, well, if the people would like, I'll give a question, and if they want to call in, the first one to answer it, we'll send a book to, and all you have to do is fax me their name and address, and I will autograph a free book for them.
Okay, do we have your fax number? Do we do that, Ed?
You should have.
Okay, Ed Leclerc is the producer. He said during the next commercial break he'll get it from you.
Great, and we can give a question out whenever you'd like, and we'll see if we can light up your telephone.
We can do that fairly. Just as an example of the kind of things that you have, it says, even when postage stamps have stuck together, try placing them into the freezer for 10 minutes, and they should come apart without damaging the glue. That's incredible, because most of the time you kind of throw the whole thing away. You figure you can't, or either that or put some glue on the back of one of them so you can use one stamp and you lose the other one.
Right.
You can tell how cheap I am, because that kind of thing appeals to me a whole lot. And what to do if you spill wine on a carpet and all that, in addition to the cooking tips. Now, you mentioned potatoes. Tell us about that, if you would.
Well, we've got a whole chapter called Spud Facts. Really fun chapter, and got a lot of tricks with potatoes. One of the things is making mashed potatoes for the holidays. You never want to take cold milk out of the refrigerator and pour it into mashed potatoes. It mixes with the starch and may make them heavy, soggy, and lumpy. You don't want to have to put them on the counter and use a rolling pin to get the lumps out. So just use hot or very warm milk when you're making your mashed potatoes. Buttermilk will give them a better flavor. Buttermilk is very low fat. You can put a pinch or two of baking powder in there to fluff them up. And when you're cooking your potatoes, make sure you cook them with the skins on. Never peel your potatoes, cut them up in small pieces, and throw them in hot boiling water. They hate that. They lose 10 to 30% of their nutrients when you do that.
Okay, let's just take a break. I haven't even mentioned the phone number. Every line is lit up. They all want to...
And since a lot of them are diabetics, I have to be very careful about the food selection. What I have decided to do as a novelty is to bring chestnuts, which are a very popular food item in New York, but are still somewhat unknown in New England. And these have to be roasted in an oven, and I have done this in a conventional oven. However, the place where the party is going to be only has a microwave. I've never used a microwave, and I don't know whether or not chestnuts can be microwaved. Where do you get accurate conversion information to translate conventional oven settings into microwave settings?
I'm afraid I would not put those nuts in the microwave.
Okay.
Those have a very thin shell, and they do have the moisture inside, and they may very well explode or pop.
Well, you have to make a crisscross cut in them anyway, even with the conventional oven.
Exactly. Yeah, you do need to when you put it in the oven, but you'll have no access to an oven at all?
Not in that location. It's an office party situation.
Oh, that's too bad for the chestnuts, because they do come out a lot nicer than they will in the microwave. However, you can do them in the microwave as long as you make your cut the way you're talking about, your X cut on them. And I really have never tried them in the microwave, to be honest. But you need to make your X cut on the pointed end, and this will keep them from exploding when you're roasting them, and it'll also make them very easy to peel. But you need to do it on the pointed end.
Okay, where would I get time information?
As far as time, my gosh, I honestly wouldn't know. It doesn't take very long. Well, not quite what I'm looking for.
Okay, thanks.
Want to try again, or
no, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. We'll go on to some other people, but I appreciate the call, Jeff. Thanks a lot. And I hope that office party turns out to be wildly successful. I suspect it will, because Jeff sounded like he's really serious about doing a great job there. Okay, we're going to start talking about Canada. We'll go up to Bridget up in Ontario, Canada. Where in Ontario are you, Bridget?
I'm from Timmons.
Say that again?
From Timmons?
Oh, Timmons, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you're on the air with Dr. Myles Bader.
Hi.
hello.
I was also calling to find out where we could purchase your book up here in Canada.
Well, my 800 number is good in Canada. We're just barely going to start getting into the bookstores in Canada. It'll take about another 3 months.
Oh, okay.
So it's the 800 number I gave out, 1-800-717-6001. Well,
although you're taking away some of the kick of eating them, I think.
I'm sorry about that, Norm. I think we have to request for this.
Mel Brooks in his Blazing Saddles movie would have to he'd have to write out that whole scene.
Well.
You know the scene I'm talking about?
Is that when the horse faints?
No. The whole bunch of people are sitting around eating. Well, maybe the horse faints too. But a whole bunch of guys are sitting around. It's kind of a pseudo-Western kind of thing, and they're all eating beans and making the usual noises that when you don't have degassed beans.
Well, we'll tell you how to degas them very easily.
Okay.
All you have to do is put a teaspoon of fennel seed, F-E-N-N-E-L, fennel seed in the water you're cooking the beans in. The fennel seed will draw the complex sugar out of the beans, and you'll never have a gas problem with beans. And there are a number of other ways in the book. That's just one of them.
Well, that sounds really good. I hated to bring that up because I happen to be a New England sex symbol. And somehow talking about gassy beans somehow kind of, I think, takes a little bit of the edge off.
It probably would.
You're as silly as I am, you know that?
Well, how about fats? Can we talk about fats for a second?
Sure.
Okay, well, when you're cooking for the holidays, and you want to use butter and olive oil, and people use a lot of it. When you're sautéing, whatever you're doing, make sure you put a tablespoon of canola oil in with your butter or olive oil to raise the smoke point. Neither one of those oils will smoke as easily and break down as easily. You can use them longer and get the flavor out of them better. So that's a good little trick to know.
Okay. On the line with us is, let's see, Bruce, who's here in Boston. Hi, Bruce. You're on WBZ.
Hi, how are you?
Could you have a question, or do you want a question?
Well, both.
Okay.
How about if I just pose the question first and then ask?
Yeah, why don't we get your question first, then?
Okay. I have a question about Feel-A-Dough. What's the best way to keep it moist during use?
You mean when you want it to rise?
No, Feel-A-Dough, the very thin pastry dough.
Oh, peel it. Oh, okay.
Peel it.
Now, understand, I'm not a chef nor a pastry chef.
Okay.
I'm a doctor.
Okay.
I put this book together because of a lot of research, and a lot of people brought me in facts. So some of the questions I'm really not that good at. A lot of times with a dough like that, a thin dough, what a lot of people do is use wax paper on either side of the dough. And that'll usually keep it fairly moist and not allow the moisture to leave.
Okay. So you wouldn't advise a mister of any kind?
Well, we've used that here in the house. We have used a spray bottle with a very fine mist. There's a number of ways you can do it.
Okay.
I don't know what else to say to you on that. I'd have to go into the book and start looking in my chapter that would explain all the flours and doughs and things like that to find it.
That's fine. Well, how about giving me a question?
How about giving you a question? Okay, why should you never add salt to the water when you're cooking vegetables?
Salt to the water when you're cooking vegetables.
A lot of recipes sort of call for that, don't they?
Does it bitter them, or?
No.
No?
No, not the right answer.
Okay.
Okay, Bruce,
Sorry.
thank you very much for the call. The phone number is 617 is the area code of Boston, 254-1030. And we go to Sam in Newton. Hi, Sam.
How you doing, now?
Good, thanks.
Now, before I forget, let me answer that question about the salt water and the vegetables. The plant cells and the vegetables are hypertonic to the salt water, so the salt water will drain them out and make them soggier.
Well, I'll tell you, that's pretty close. It actually toughens them, and that is one of the ways that it does toughen them. I was looking for toughen them, but that's close enough to give you a book.
Great.
Hey, Sam, that's okay. Now, did you had a question, too?
Yes, I did. I know you're not a chef, but I know you might have picked something up in one of the chef's kitchens that you've been in. I fish a lot.
Oh, good. Okay, I've got a whole chapter on fish facts.
Catch a lot of largemouth bass, and I like it sushi, but not a lot of people agree with me. Have you seen it prepared any way in particular?
No, in the preparation, I really couldn't help you. We do have a lot of tips about sushi in the book.
Really?
And we want to make sure that you freeze it for 3 days at minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit before you eat it.
Oh.
That's one of the most important things you can do. That will kill the larvae. And there are a lot of susceptible fish that we're worried about right now. Those include mackerel, herring, squid, sardines, bonita, salmon, sea trout, and porgy.
Some of my favorites.
Sorry about that, but if you can still eat them, but you do need to put them into a freezer that will go down low enough to be minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 days. Mm-hmm. Then they're safe to eat.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, hang in there, Sam. Talk to Ed. And I had one other question I wanted to ask before we go to the next. See, I always thought that sweet potatoes and yams were the same thing, and according to your book, they are not. How do you tell the difference between the two? Is there an obvious difference?
Well, it's mainly the color of the flesh in the potato. And the sweet potato is a much more orangey, and the yam is a much more reddish color. The sweet potato will actually have more vitamin C and 3 times the beta-carotene. So the sweet potato is preferred, but there's not a great big difference there.
Okay. Any store that sells sweet potatoes also sells yams or whatever. Anyway, let's go to Katie, who's right here in Boston. Hi, Katie.
Hi there. How are you?
We're just fine. What a cute little adorable voice you have.
Well, I'm
trying not to wake anybody up here.
Okay.
We'll whisper.
Okay, because you're Miles, you're out in where, Las Vegas?
I'm in Las Vegas.
Okay, so you're a couple hours behind us.
It's 9:45 here now.
Okay, we're coming up to we're a little bit later than 1:45. But anyway, Katie, did you have a question? And did you want a question?
Both. I knew all the other questions. Hopefully, I'm going to know this one.
Okay. You want to ask Dr. Bader a question first?
I do have a question for you also.
Sure, go right ahead.
How can I deal with chopping onions without the tears?
Oh, that's no problem. We've got about, I think, 5 or 6 different ways in the book. Number 1, you can chew gum. Number 2, you can ball up a piece of fresh white bread. Put it on the end of your knife. The white bread will absorb the odors from the onions. And, of course, you always keep onions in the refrigerator. The colder they are, the more inert the fumes are, and they won't come out. Before you start working with the onion, it's best to put it into the freezer for about 3 to 5 minutes to make sure it's really icy cold, and that will also reduce the fumes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
That's what the book is full of, 6,000 of these.
I love this.
Okay, now you want a question.
You want a question? Okay, I need the method that I'm thinking of now of how to stop gravy from becoming lumpy. It's a very simple thing. It's the easiest thing.
Pour it over a fish, and if it blinks at you, it won't get
How did you know that? Well, Norm just answered the question.
Incorrectly, so you're still in the running, Katie.
Well, let's see. What I learned is to put cornstarch in a little baby jar with a little water, shake it up that way, and that way when you put it into the drippings, you don't have the lumpy flour.
Well, that is one of the ways, and it is a very good way. And it probably is equally as good. It is in the book, by the way you said.
Oh.
But it's not the way I was thinking, but it's so close that I'm really going to give you the book.
Oh, you're great. Thank you so much.
And what I was thinking of is putting a pinch of salt in the flour before adding any liquid.
Oh.
And that'll help disperse the liquid, and you'll never have lumpy gravy.
That's wonderful.
That's just our gift to you, because you sound so cute.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Norm.
Okay. Hang in there, Katie. I don't know whether you noticed it, Miles, but I do flirt unashamedly.
I've noticed that.
Anyway, let's try Dieter, who is in Maryland.
Yeah, good morning, Norm.
I'm never sure that I'm pronouncing your name right.
It's always right.
It is Dieter.
Right, yeah. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
And are you in the Washington D.C. area? Or are you further south?
I'm further east.
East?
I'm on the eastern peninsula of Maryland.
Okay. Do you have a question that you want to ask Miles before I ask you a question?
I always soak onions in cold water before cutting them. That seems to help.
You soak what?
Onions.
Onions. Okay, well, that's right. That's fine.
Do you know how to make eggs easier to peel?
Eggs easier to peel,
eggs?
yes, you need to toughen the shell up. You need to put some salt in the water. That'll toughen the shell, and it'll make them much easier to peel. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's right? No, you're testing me. I don't get stumped too often, but when somebody does stump me, I give them a free book.
Well, someone, I told him that was a secret to it, and he said, no, the reason that eggs stick to the shell is because it's summertime, and the chickens drink more water, and that...
Do you know how to make eggs last longer, up to 2 to 3 weeks longer in the refrigerator?
Is that the question?
No. Well, I'll give you that as a question.
I was hoping you'd give me another one.
Okay, I'll give you another one. Why do turkeys have white meat breasts?
Because that is a muscle tissue that isn't used.
Very good. You get a book. That's exactly right.
That's really great.
Wild turkeys, ducks, and geese use their breast muscles. They have a better blood supply, and that's exactly right. Our turkeys and chickens have white meat breasts, and that's why they're not as moist and tender, because they don't have that the blood and muscle supply.
What was the answer to the other question?
See, I got you there. I'll take the book back. Let me see. If you just use vegetable oil on the outside of the egg, wipe them with vegetable oil. Never wash your eggs after you get them home. They've already been washed once, and you don't want to remove any of the protective coating that's left. So just put a thin layer of vegetable oil on the outside of the egg. That'll seal them up, and they'll last a lot longer. And make sure you store them in a sealed container in the refrigerator, not in an open door.
Are you familiar with the book on food and cooking?
No, I'm really not.
If you're interested in the subject that you're talking about, I'd recommend it. It's very
great. Yeah, I haven't heard of that one yet.
Physics of food.
Okay, hang in there, Dee. Because I want to move along to some other people who are on the line, but we're taking his name and address. One thing about eggs is older eggs are easier to peel than fresh eggs, are they not? And the reason it seems to me is because air seems to get underneath between the shell and the egg as the egg gets older, and when more air gets in there, the shell is separated from the egg, and thus it's easier to peel. Is that
right? Yeah, gases do build up in an egg as they get older. Okay. That's why they float.
I just wanted to be a smart guy and just hit you with something.
Brilliant.
Okay, Al and Everett, you're on WBZ. Hi, Al.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
I have another fun fact about fennel for you.
About fennel? Oh, fine.
Yes. The Roman army used to use fennel, give their soldiers fennel when they go on a march, because it's a natural appetite suppressant, and it improves their energy and stamina. So when they go on a long march, they didn't want to stop. They just pull out a piece of their fennel and chew away, and they'd be all set.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you might want to look into it where you are a nutritionist and everything. You know?
Yeah, I hadn't heard about that.
Where are you? Are you at work, Al?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
All right, and I'd like a shot at one of the doctor's questions.
Oh, let's see. What can I come up with? I wasn't expecting this many of them. Let's see. How do you keep cookies from getting hard? Soft cookies.
Just cover them with wax paper?
Nope.
Okay.
Not the answer.
Okay, thanks for calling, Al. Whatever business he's in, they're apparently very busy out there.
Machine gone.
It's on the air. This is Ronnie in Pennsylvania.
Hi there.
How you doing, Ronnie?
Oh, fine. How are you doing,
Good. Where are you in Pennsylvania?
I'm near Hershey.
Okay.
In Hummelstown.
Can you smell the chocolate?
Oh, yes.
Where you are? Can you really?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah?
Depends on the way the wind blows.
Okay. It's an interesting city, Hershey, because they have the streetlights are in the shade of those the chocolate kisses, are they not?
You must have been down here.
No. I get calls from people around that area, and so I hear about that. But I've never been there. I don't know why I'd like to go there.
Well, you should come down and visit.
Okay. Do you have a question for Dr. Bader, and would you like a question from him or both?
I have a couple questions, but one that's been bothering me about smoked fish. When they smoke fish, does that kill the bacteria and the larvae in the fish?
Well, in some it does, and some it doesn't. For most of the case, it really does, because it does do a pretty good job on them. Smoked fish, however, still contains... I have to go into another conversation here of free radicals and antioxidants and things like that. But smoking fish does produce a substance in the fish, a type of pyrobenzene, that is a free radical in the body. It's not good to have a lot of smoked products, period.
Okay. I was wondering, because I do like smoked salmon.
Well, I do too.
Salmon and lox and bagels.
Yeah, it's soul food.
Yeah, I like that. So, and I wanted to mention, one way I found out to peel onions and cut onions is start from the end. It doesn't have the root on it.
Right. When you want to store the onion, in fact, the book mentions that you should store it that way.
Yeah, but when you cut it,
what's left, right? Store the other end.
Yeah, and just throw the other end away when you finish cutting the onion, and don't disturb that little root knob, because that is what makes the onion seem to release its odors.
Okay. I'll go along with that. It's in the book.
It is? Okay. May I answer the question that the gentleman didn't answer?
Oh, which one? I don't even remember which one it was now.
You said, how do you keep cookies?
Oh, keep soft cookies from getting hard.
You put a piece of apple in there.
Very good. You get a book.
Oh, thank you.
Probably be the last book we'll give away, and I'd like to give out my 800 number again.
Okay, I was going to ask you one thing. Thank you, Ronnie. Hold on and talk to Ed, and thank you for calling. Would it be imposing upon you to ask you if you can stick around for like another half hour? Is that too much?
I'd be delighted to.
Okay, because we have an awful lot of people who lives down on the Cape, and every now and then travels up to Danvers, which is a long haul, and sings with the Bob Batchelder Band, which I've told people about, who performs every other Wednesday at the Village Green, and who was at the Village Green singing with the band this past Wednesday. And you told me that you were going to be down in Manomet. Is it this Sunday and the Sunday following? Because anyway, we'll talk about that because I think people ought to catch you.
All right, thank you. It's the 17th and the 24th.
Okay, the 7th. So it isn't this coming.
No, it's not this coming Sunday.
But the Sunday after that.
Yeah, Sunday after, the 17th and the 24th, and we'll start playing at 12 noon.
Well, tell us now the name of the club where you'll be.
The name of the place is Cranberries Restaurant.
Dude, I stay awake in the middle of the night. Who else does?
Yeah, when I leave here in the morning, I disappear. Nobody ever sees me till my life only begins when I come through the door.
Well, the sunlight hits me and I melt.
Similar kind of stuff. Anyway, I remember the disc jockeys back then, the good guys, would all talk like this, big top. And you think, I wonder what they really sound like. And it was kind of funny when you wander into a studio and they're saying, you're talking to them off the air because they're playing a medley of records and stuff. They're saying, excuse me just a minute, I got to go on there. Hold on just a second, I got to go on there in a second. We'll talk. I want to finish this. Just one second. Well, the time is now 13 before 3 o'clock. The temperature 19 degrees. Let's keep swinging, yeah. Okay, I have a few more minutes free now, and I'll talk like that.
You know what they always said, Norm? They always said, I'm conserving my voice for being on the air. I can't ruin it. I have to go gargle. I'll be right back.
But there would be, I mean, totally different people on the air. That always amazed me. And you sit there and watch the transformation right in front of your eyes.
Until you try to get a table in a restaurant, and then you're back to that again. I'd like a table for 3.
Yeah. Oh, as a matter of fact, when I worked at HDH, and we were in the Payne Furniture Building up on the 8th floor, we took an elevator, and there was an elevator operator. Do you remember them? What floor, please, and all that? And there was anyway, we get into the elevator, and what floor, please? And you could always tell the HDH guys, they would say, I'd like the 8th floor, please. Like they were auditioning for the operator. Anyway, those were really crummy days. I wouldn't want to go back to any of that again.
Or they'd say, I'll take floor 850 WHDH. Thank you.
Something like that. And then we had the operator was always auditioning because she was a singer. And she sang really well. She'd do spirituals and everything going up to the 8th floor. It was like we were the management, and she was trying to prove something. The 8th floor is coming. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. I'd be a lot of that. Anyway.
The thing is, there are no more. Personalities in radio are kind of waning. Now they want the on-air people. They're no longer personalities. They're, just kind of like reading liners and playing the songs. It's all kind of a dying breed in art.
I think so. Well, AM still has the personalities, I think, like us.
Like yourself, yeah.
We're very strong personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Bob is a strong personality.
Well, everything's a lot more programmed, as you know, on FM as well, that they give you 10 seconds to read something. They don't do that to many requests or contests or personality or things like that they used to. And there's the playlist. When you spun records, Norm, you got to choose a lot of what you wanted to play.
That's right. When I was courting my wife, even before I was courting her, we had met. She would listen to me on MEX. She really tied in with a winner. She's listening to a station that nobody listened to, Anyway, I would play. We love Cole Porter, Rogers and Hart, that kind of stuff, and I would play songs for her, and she knew I was playing songs for her, so that was the way we recorded. Wow. I get a kick out of you, and she knew who I was talking about. Here's Cole Porter, so I get a kick out of you, and it was all that kind of stuff. And then later on came, as you mentioned, Bob, the playlist where you had to play the songs that they told you to play, and now on FM it's a lot of more. Rock and less talk. We play 736 songs in a row. Let's begin our medley now, and I'll talk to you a week from next Thursday when I'll give a time check.
Well, it's funny that you should mention that thing about playing the songs, that the two of you liked and such, because because that's the beauty about being a traffic reporter. Sometimes you have, especially in the middle of the night, you have a little leeway. And when I started going out with Monine, I would mention streets that were important to us.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I did the same kind of thing. We're both a couple of hopeless romantics.
Yes, we are.
Helpless, I suppose, probably, too. Anyway, it's been fun talking with both you guys. Bob, thanks a million. That was very timely of you to call when you did.
No, what happened, actually, is my mother sleeps with you every night, so to speak.
Ooh, she's wonderful. And I don't know whether you appreciate that, Bob, but she's a wonderful person.
She called me a few minutes ago and said they're mentioning you on BZ and something about Chuck Adler, and you sound like somebody, and tune in and listen. So I tuned in, and I heard Frank talking, and I said, what the heck, I'll call you. And, of course, now we're all in big trouble because you've mentioned every radio station in Massachusetts, and I've appeared on another station that I'm not working for, so we're in deep trouble.
That's okay. What do we care? Let's get out in flames, Bob. Don't be chicken.
What the heck?
Okay. Hey, thanks for calling. Great to talk to you. My best to your mom.
Be well, Norm.
Okay.
Take care, Jack.
All right, same to you.
That's kind of funny. Jack, we'll be talking with you in about 10 minutes when we do the dumb birthday game.
You betcha.
Isn't this an exciting program?
It is a
Isn't this more fun than the other program that's on at this time on the station?
Yeah, pre-recorded and all like that there from another city.
That isn't what I was talking about, and you know better than that. Anyway, I'll talk to you in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay? Take care. Bye-bye. This is the program that does not blast Bill Clinton. It's the only program on the station that doesn't, I guess. And hey, this is, what, Inga Bohr? Oh, this is my friend Inga Bohr.
Yeah, hi, Norm. Here I am again. Listen, do you remember a while ago you were fascinated by yodelers?
Yes, I still am.
And you asked me if women can yodel.
Yes, I know they can, but most of the yodelers seem to have been men, but I have known a few women.
Would you like to hear some?
You yodel?
No, I do, but not as good as this one that I have on the tape here.
Okay, now who is this?
Well, from Germany. It doesn't matter if I tell you, you wouldn't still not know.
Okay, but this is a woman yodeler from a German woman yodeler.
She's a master yodeler.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
It starts slow, but...
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Einen Jodel, einen rechten Jodel, einen rechten Jodel zum Mann. Einen rechten Jodel, einen rechten Jodel, einen, der so richtig jodelt hat. Wenn wir dann jodeln, so wie du auch, dann das Jodeln ist richtig fest. Ich wünsch mir einen Jodel, einen rechten Jodel, einen rechten Jodel zum Mann. Oder die,
Okay. Inga Bohr. Hi-yo, Inga Bohr. Okay, Inga Bohr. Well, forget it. I've lost control.
So eine rechte Jodel, eine rechte Jodel, eine, der so richtig jodeln kann. hear them yodel, do it well. Dance the yodel,
Here she goes now.
Einen Jodel, einen festen Jodel zum Mann. Oder
She's gonna hurt herself.
Did you like that?
Oh, that was funny.
I mean, this is really something. I can yodel, but I don't know how she does it.
Let me hear you yodel.
That's only a little bit, you know. You have to try for a while. You have to yell for a while. You can't just do it.
So you warm up. If you were going to yodel in front of an audience.
But my father was very good at it.
Yeah?
Yeah, my father was Austrian. And
that's the kind of the yodeling capital of the world, isn't it, Austria?
I guess so.
And Switzerland, too, I guess.
Switzerland. And, wait a minute. Your cowboys yodel, too.
Oh, yes, but they picked it up, I would guess, from the European countries.
I don't know.
I would think so, since...
I have no idea. I know what it means in Europe, why they yodel, but I don't know why they yodel here.
Why do they yodel in Europe?
Well, it's a way of communication, or it used to be a way of communications from mountain to mountain. Because they didn't have transportation like they have now.
So the sound would carry more if they yodeled rather than just yelled?
Oh, you couldn't yell that loud. But every yodeler, there are so many different yodelers, they all mean something. And so they yodel a message to the other mountain.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And
I mean, you can't yodel whole sentences, but you yodel a yodeler, and the other person who knows yodeling and lives in the mountain or is there for the summer, they know what this person means.
That's Inge. You know something, Ingeborg? You get more interesting every time I talk with you.
Don't I? Well, I'll surprise you again. Another time, I'll surprise you with a master yodeler. I just went through my music. Usually, I listen to better music than that. Well, I shouldn't say better, classical, and jazz. But I brought some of my stuff with me, and once in a while, I listen to that.
Okay, we'll have to get the master yodeler next time you call. Okay?
I'll find him.
Hey, that was fun, Ingeborg. Just tell us anyway, even though we won't know who she is. What is her name? The one who just yodeled.
Maria Helsinger.
Oh, that's easy. Maria Helsinger.
Yeah.
Is she one of the leading women yodelers?
Well, she is a master yodeler, but there is more than one. And then there's others that yodel just as good and are not so-called master yodelers.
Okay, how do you determine when somebody's a master yodeler? Is there a little board?
I really don't know. That's just on the thing here. It says master yodeler.
Okay, I just wondered if they had a little committee that accredited yodelers and said,
maybe
you just passed your yodeling, master yodeling certificate or something.
I suppose it has to be something like that because she couldn't just call herself master yodeler, but I really don't know how this happens.
Okay.
I don't want to tell you something that's not true.
No.
But maybe I can find out.
That would be nice. I'd like to know about that.
Okay.
Hey, Ingeborg, thanks a million. Take care. Bye-bye. That's kind of funny. Oh, we need some players for the dumb birthday game. Eddie LeClaire is a fine person to talk to about that. Okay, 254-1030. 617-254-1030.
Area off to the side. Otherwise, 128, 495. The Mass Pike doing well currently, but prepare your cars for the snowstorm later on today. I'm Jack Hart, WBZ 24-Hour Traffic Network. Choose from hundreds of world-renowned artists. McKnight, Tarkay, Fairchild, Fazzino, and more. Best service, best price, and convenient payment plans at Wentworth Gallery, Faneuil Hall, Chestnut Hill, and Burlington Malls.
Yes. And I remember him saying to me, "Who the hell is Richard Stans?"
I know.
Nobody knew.
I know it.
And it took several years before we matured enough to.
Oh, the thing I was thinking about also on those prizes, they would say, in case of a tie, duplicate prizes will be awarded. Now I know duplicate sounds like the kind of word everybody should know.
Right.
But when you're when you're like 6 years old and entering a contest, well, maybe I'm just plain stupid. I never understood what that meant. And aptness of thought, I guess that was the thing that used to get me. Neatness, oh yeah, what counted was neatness and aptness of thought. Isn't that a strain for a phrase?
Well, certainly for a kid in the first or second grade.
Well, even just saying creativity would count or something. You wonder who dreams up these things, as I mentioned before. But that's kind of funny though. Kids are like that with the one you were talking about, the Pledge of Allegiance.
And Richard stands. I've never met anybody with that name.
And Richard said, no, that's right. Kids, they run words together, and they come out different. It's kind of funny. It seems to me I've read something about this. Sounds like something from the Peanuts or some kind of comic strip that ran a series like that with phrases that turned out to be different than what were intended. But anyway, I appreciate that, Larry. You're okay.
Can I ask a question?
By all means.
Or a favor of you.
Sure.
I'm having a problem with hearing as a result of a bad bout with shingles.
Oh.
And it's settled in my ear, and I don't hear as well as I used to, nor are they able to give me any kind of a hearing aid. And I'm calling about that number of Food Facts book.
Okay.
And it just came over so quickly that I was never really able to get it. Could you repeat it?
I would be happy to.
That would be nice if you would.
No, I'd be happy to. Sounds like I'm stalling. I'm just reaching.
You're not. I understand.
I'm just reaching the line.
Slowly.
Okay, it's 1-800.
Yeah.
And 717.
Right.
6001.
Okay, that's it. I was missing one number, and I thank you very much. I enjoy your program. Keep up the good work.
Thanks a million, Larry. I appreciate you saying that.
All right.
Bye-bye. The author of a book called Lucille, The Life of Lucille Ball, talking about Lucy's life, which is been sad and happy and kind of wild. She's led a very interesting life. Anyway, we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk with Rick Wyman, author of For the Love of Lucy, the complete guide for collectors and fans. And he's been a collector of for over 10 years and has assembled quite a large collection of Lucille Ball memorabilia. Writing to them, you'd write to Ben and Jerry.
Yeah, I wrote Dear Ben and Jerry.
Okay, now what is the address again?
Waterbury, Vermont.
Just plain Waterbury?
Well, it's on the cover of the carton that I have here. I'll have to go look it up if you want to wait.
Yeah, would you do that, and I'll hold on. I'll hold on for you.
All right, just a minute. I have to go to my refrigerator.
That's a good place to have this stuff. No, you go right ahead.
Hold on, because I've been holding very long.
No. I'm going to hold on till you come back. No, I won't hang up. Mark Warno and the Studio Orchestra. Okay, you're all set? Okay.
It's small print.
Oh, we're having so much fun here. I can't believe it.
Let's see, Ben and Jerry.
Ben and Jerry.
It says homemade ink, but I just wrote Ben and Jerry.
I think that's probably enough.
Yeah. Post Office Box 240.
Post Office Box 240.
Waterbury, Vermont.
Waterbury, Vermont.
05676.
Okay. And the reason we're talking about that is because of the woman who called. It was Dorothy up in New York.
Jerry Garcia?
Yeah, she thought just because Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead died, that she didn't want their flavor, Cherry Garcia, to be disbanded. So she wanted to start a campaign having everybody write to Ben and Jerry and say, keep Cherry Garcia, keep that name even though he no longer exists in this world. But what kind of stuff, and you talk about it for collectors?
Well, I'm only 26, and when I was in high school, I really I stumbled across my first piece of Lucy, memorabilia, which I kind of refer to as my first artifact, which kind of tells something about her. I was in an antique shop, and not really knowing what I was looking for. I was with my mom. We were just kind of kicking around, browsing, and I came across this children's storybook, Lucy and the Madcap Mystery. It was put out in 1963. It was a children's book, and Lucy had been my first babysitter. And, you know, I grew up watching her, as I think so many of us have, and as you mentioned earlier with the Nick at Night lineup now, a new generation is kind of being exposed to her. But I came across this book and didn't know why I wanted it, but I was fascinated with it because I knew her, and she was an old-time friend. So I picked this thing up and took it home with me, and that day I kind of started wondering, well, you know, if this is out there, what else is out there? Typically, when you collect movie or TV-related star merchandise, whatever you want to call it, you think of, you know, magazine articles, magazine covers, but back then I had no idea that, you know, in 1944, the Southfield Publishing Company put out a series of Lucy paper dolls. I didn't know that Milton Bradley, you know, licensed her to be pictured on, you know, a half a dozen different board games in the 70s. I didn't know she was on the cover of TV Guide more than anyone else. I didn't know that there were Lucy comic books in the 1950s and 60s. And through time, you start, you know, with a lot of dedication and a lot of time being discouraged because this material is not out there easily found. You've got to do some digging. You've got to do some serious searching. But as the things started turning up, it really kind of told her story to me, and every piece really said something new about her. We devote an entire chapter in this book to all the foreign material, and you'll find magazine covers from Denmark and Italy and France, and Lucy cigar bands from Belgium, and movie posters from Australia and Mexico. You know, and that there alone just tells me she was an international star, and her success went, you know, far beyond our borders.
Is it more difficult to find these things now than when you started?
Well, I think, fortunately for me, I kind of got in early, and unfortunately, when a celebrity passes away, then they suddenly get the recognition.
Exactly.
And then people start, you know, collecting, and I guess that sparks an interest because maybe it's because they know they're no longer around. They'll no longer see them appear on The Tonight Show, or so they use this as a vehicle of keeping their memory alive. And people, certainly since her death, have it's been a very, very strong market for Lucy material.
You've been collecting stuff then since when she was alive. You started then?
I started in 1983, and so I for a good 5-6 years.
Kathleen, did you start writing about her or become interested in her before she died, or?
I was interested in writing a book about her for some time, but when I interviewed her in 1986, it was for a magazine article, for Working Woman magazine. So that is how I got to meet her, and we talked about Lucy as a businesswoman, which was fascinating. And she wasn't happy. That aspect of her life didn't interest her one whit. But she was very much the performer. You know, I met several people who were Lucy fans and collectors, of course, and what they used to do, and it certainly would have happened to Rick because he gave such an incredible collection. Lucy used to look at their collections and see if they had things she did not, and if they did, she'd try to buy them. And of course, they were in something of a bind because they wanted to make Lucy happy, but they didn't want to give up their stuff. So I'm sure Lucy would have locked Rick in the basement or something until he agreed to share his treasures. I mean, she didn't, and she always wanted to pay people. She didn't want to take advantage of people, but she loved that old. She saved everything.
The only unfortunate thing is this is something that she wasn't able to see put together because it's really unlike any other book. It really shows what an influence she had, you know, on pop culture.
I wonder one of the reasons I asked whether you had both known her before or were interested in her before she died, and did her death? I mean, did you? I just wondered how you reacted when she died. I was thinking of One of my favorite all-time people, I mentioned this on the air before, was Jack Benny. And I was driving into work one morning back in 75 when I heard he died, and I had to pull over because I was crying.
Yes.
And I thought, I don't even know this man. Why am I doing this? I wondered how her death affected you both.
I found out 10 minutes before I had a sociology exam in college.
Oh, how did you do on the test?
Fair. You know, you do what you have to, but unfortunately, the whole situation with her illness and her death, I mean, when she was hospitalized, Lucy was a part of our family, and everybody wanted to know every day how she was doing, and so the newspapers accommodated, and, you know, they kept us updated each day. And, you know, she was getting better. Everybody thought she was going to be fine. And that's kind of, you know, we all knew she was sick, and when you are told every day that she's, you know, her Irish eyes are smiling, you know, one headline read, and when you hear that she's doing well, and then all of a sudden, boom, you know, it's different. It was a little bit of a shock, but, you know, you move on, and you, what can you do?
I know. I worked at Time Magazine at the time, and I said, although I didn't want to believe it, I kept saying, you know, she is in her 70s, and I'm afraid something's really going to happen. And everybody said, no, she's getting better, because none of us wanted her to ever go.
Yeah.
So we were caught short, actually, even though we had a week's notice. But one of the things that I am so glad about is that she had a chance in the week she lived to hear about the calls and the letters coming in, because one of the things, her last show, the last TV series that she did, flopped and was pulled off the air very abruptly, and that was such a devastating experience for her that she honestly thought that nobody loved her anymore. And
well, that whole year was rough, though. I mean, Desi died that year.
Exactly.
And, I mean, there was just so much. She kind of...
in 86, yeah, Desi died in 86.
Yeah, and the show kind of, that's the year the show flopped. You know, that was only given, you know, and today, it's not like it was in 52 or 53. You know, back then you were allowed to establish an audience. They didn't cut you after a month.
Exactly, there was a commitment.
You got to have instant success today in order to stay on the air, and unfortunately that was really something that she wasn't allowed to, you know, get her audience back together again.
It's really true, and someone said that if they'd run if they'd run that show before a live audience, it would still be playing, because the audience, the people who were there, loved her so much. But I am so touched that she, you know, when people knew she was sick, all the letters and caring poured in, and she lived long enough to know about that. So she had that message before she died, and that pleases me no end. I mean, it touches me that she didn't leave the earth before she was reminded about how much people loved her.
And I think probably it's comforting for anyone, you know, that you know, as you reflect back on it, and you know how surprised you were that it happened. It's good to know that she was okay. You know, that she knew that she was loved, and you know, you could watch the evening news shows. And you would see, you know, they would do news stories on how much mail that Cedars-Sinai would get for her. It was alarming, you know, and they never had to deal with that much mail before. And if that in itself making, you know, to be newsworthy, certainly tells you that she was so much a part of, you know, our lives all over the world.
Absolutely. I remember Nightline did a show, and Jerry Lewis was on it, and they were talking about her comedy, and he said, there has never been anything like this. I mean, Jack Benny had died, and Cary Grant had died, and all these wonderful greats had died. But it was like national mourning when she passed on. It was, and they interrupted it almost makes me cry. We should talk about something else, but they interrupted the morning shows to flash this bulletin on television. When I was researching the book in Jamestown, I visited the apartment where the family lived after they lost their house, and a very nice man who was, I guess, the caretaker of the building, he and I were sitting there talking, and he had the television on, and all of a sudden, one of her old movies came on television. And I thought, how remarkable that this woman was she was very unhappy when that family lived in that apartment. Her world had ended, and none of them knew what they were going to do. And here, maybe, I guess it was 50 years later, she was appearing on television, which had not even, I'm sure she didn't even know about television then, in this room where she'd been so unhappy. And it was like the way she dominated part of our consciousness and our awareness. It was very, very moving. And I know, Rick, you went to Jamestown, didn't you?
Sure. As you spoke earlier of the festival, the Lucy, We Love Lucy, the Lucy Fest that they have every Memorial Day.
Right.
It's kind of a gathering place for people, like you and I, who share an interest in her and her career. And you meet people from all walks of life, and it's nice to be in the company of that for a weekend.
Yes.
Since you're 26 now, you mentioned Rick. I wondered, why you had picked Lucille Ball as somebody to, as part of, as a guide for collectors and fans and that kind of thing. Since she had, I know you've sort of skirted over this, but why Lucille Ball? What specifically appealed to you about her that you would make this into a book?
Well, I certainly never, when I started, I never really intended, for there to be a book. But as I collected the material over the years, I kind of saw things falling into their own chapters. And as I had said before, everything really, collectively, when you see it all together, it's overwhelming. And each, chapter, and then individually, really, each piece within the chapter kind of shows her in a different way, tells something new about her. She was a glamour girl, and as you spoke earlier, many people did not consider her to be beautiful because she was a comedian. And a lot of times when you see Lucy Ricardo, you remember her for the laughs, but you don't really, if you look again, you'll see how gorgeous she was. And a lot of these early radio magazine covers and some of the early nostalgia documents her as being a glamour girl. And Lucy, why I did Lucy, I think is just because she was someone who appealed to me, because I knew her from when I could remember the earliest. When Mom was making dinner or ironing, clothes, I was in the living room every afternoon watching Lucy. She was a babysitter. She was a TV friend, and you knew that you could count on her for a laugh. Even today now, if your day goes wrong, you can find her still. And she was just someone who I really had a link with, I guess. And I don't think I'm alone. I think so many people today, and as I said before, the new generation today is starting to develop that bond with her.
Oh, that's quite true. Want to try some, have people call in and see if you can stump them with some trivia questions?
Sure. I understand Abbeville has provided you with a few books to give away.
Yes, we have apparently five books to give away.
Sure, let's see what we can...
Okay, you want to try Kathleen first of all and see if you can stump
I talked myself into this. I am now going to make a fool of myself.
Okay, we won't give Kathleen... We want to give her a book because you're an author. Buy your own book.
No, those are for the audience. Those are for the audience.
That's right.
I can only be dunked in the water if I'm booed.
Okay, and also, I think when you're an author, you realize the importance of people buying your books, not giving them away.
Absolutely, and it's I think everybody ought to call in to... Rick's book is great, so
Okay, people call in right now. Our phone number, 617. All the lines are already lighting up. 617-254-1030. We'll get to the people on the line in just a minute. But let's test you first, Kathleen, okay?
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Or not, as the case may be.
Well, some of the stuff you've already... I'm looking through my notes here, and you've mentioned a lot in your interview. Early in her career, Lucille Ball starred with the Marx Brothers in the 1938 RKO comedy Room Service. But 4 years prior to this, Lucy goofed around with another team of well-known comedy film stars. They were remembered for their outrageous slapstick. Who were they?
The Three Stooges.
Hey, okay.
And I must say, watching those, they did, I think, the Three Little Pigskins together. I am one of the only women in America who actually likes the Three Stooges. I didn't think this was possible, but studying about them made me a Three Stooges fan.
No, because I get a kick out of them. I can appreciate them. I've even gotten to listen to Abbott and Costello with Who's On First and realize what a work of genius that is. It really is, that Who's On First. I never cared for them on anything they ever did well, that's a whole other thing.
That's another book.
That's another book. That's right. Okay, let's bring in some people and see if they can be stumped or if they know the answers. This is Linda, who's out in Watertown. Hi, Linda. You're on WBZ.
Hi, Norm. Hi, everyone.
Hello. I've got a question for you.
Okay.
In November of 1985, Lucille Ball returned to CBS television in a rare dramatic performance as Floribel, a bag lady living on the streets of New York. This made-for-TV movie was one of the 10 most watched programs for the week. What was the name of the film?
Floribel? I thought you were going to ask questions about I Love Lucy show.
No, it's about Lucille Ball. It's not necessarily just the Lucy show, but anything about Lucille Ball.
I remember the movie. I saw it, but you want to know the title of the movie?
Yes.
I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds to come up with an answer, okay, Linda? Otherwise, you'll hear a horrible sound. It'll go right through your entire body. And here it is. Sorry. Thank you very much for trying, Linda. Okay. Let's go to Eddie in Chelsea. Eddie, you're on WBC. How you doing?
Good.
Okay, you ready for a question on Lucille Ball from Rick Wyman?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, let's do the same question once more. Lucille Ball returned to CBS television in a rare dramatic performance as Floribel, a bag lady living on the streets of New York. This made-for-TV movie was one of the 10 most watched programs for the week. What was the name of the film?
Oh, I can remember the movie being on TV, but I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ed.
Okay, thank you.
You sound like a nice man. I wish you could have won. But that's the breaks of the game. I think that was ungrammatical, what I just said. Okay, this is my friend Kristen in Dorchester, who was, I don't think you were even born hardly by the time Lucille Ball died. I mean, you were born. I know you were, but you were very, very young. How you doing?
Hi, Norm.
Kristen, I hope you can win because you're a nice person.
I love Lucy.
Oh, I think we got a title for a TV show.
That's an idea. Let's do it.
That's right. Let's do it. Okay, here's Rick. Rick is going to ask you that question
again. Do we have a different one? Because for the third person, maybe it should be changed.
Oh, don't start making your own rules there, fella.
I thought maybe from the TV show, no?
Well, let's see what we can do.
Okay, I'll leave that up to you, Rick, whatever rules you want to set in place.
I have my mother helping me here, so if I'm talking, you know who I'm talking to.
Okay, let's give this a try. Lucille Ball has been featured on the cover of TV Guide more often than anyone else, a record 36 times. In fact, Lucy and her newborn son were pictured on the cover of the very first national issue of TV Guide. What was the year?
Okay.
Oh, the year that her son was born. And that was Desi, a junior.
Okay. Let's see. I'll say 1952.
Oh, that's close, but not it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
okay.
Kristen, I'm so sorry. I feel just so terribly awful. We'll go to Baltimore, Maryland. Carol, hi.
Yes, hi. I just love Lucy, and I'll tell you, she was really beautiful, but it was very hard to watch her in a serious role. But the bag lady role was excellent, and I think the name of it was Stone Pillow.
You're a winner.
Yeah. Oh, great. I just love her.
Okay, Carol.
Thank you. I'm thrilled.
Okay, Eddie LeClaire is our producer, and he'll take your name and address, and we'll see that you get a copy of the book. And thank you. Do you have any questions that you... Okay, anyway, I think she's already over to the production department giving her name and address. Let's see. Stephen Dedham, do you have any questions you want to ask either Kathleen Brady or Rick Wyman?
No, but it's an interesting show.
Okay.
You can ask me a question.
Okay.
Well, let's go back to the year. Lucille Ball has been featured on the cover of TV Guide more often than anyone else, a record 36 times. In fact, Lucy and her newborn son were pictured on the cover of the very first national issue of TV Guide. What was the year? And it's not 1952.
1953.
That's the year. So you're a book winner
So
too.
you're a winner too, Steve. Very, very good. I'm actually glad you called.
Yes, I am. Always a good show.
Good.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. Okay, we'll turn you over to Ed LeClaire also, and we appreciate that your call. Tell us, before we get to the next caller, Rick, For the Love of Lucy, The Complete Guide for Collectors and Fans, which is a very big book. I know you're hardcover. You in paperback as yet?
No, the book is fairly new. It was released this summer, and it's doing real well. I guess the Christmas season is the coffee table book buying season, and that's really what this is. It's a coffee table book.
Okay, and it's published by whom, and how can people
Abbeville
get it?
Press. It is.
I'm sorry, Abbeville Press?
That's right, Abbeville Press, and it does have national distribution. I know it's in Rizzoli Books in Boston, and it also can be purchased directly from the publisher by calling 1-800-ART-BOOK.
1-800-ART-BOOK.
That's it.
Okay, and you mentioned looking at Lucille, The Life of Lucille Ball, Kathleen Brady's book, and in some stores right now, you guys are kind of nestling each other side by side on the shelf.
We're kind of holding each other up.
Exactly. This sounds very good.
I'm just getting warm all over. Just at the very thought. Just at the very thought of that. I think that's wonderful. Okay, let's talk with Estelle in Newton. Hi, Estelle. Do you want to ask a question first before we ask you a question?
Well, Norm, I just want to tell you, I enjoy listening to you so much in the weekends. You keep me up too late, though.
That is a very nice thing to say. I really appreciate that.
And I loved Lucy. So I think I'd like to answer the question before about the name of that TV movie.
I think we just got an answer, did we not? The TV movie that she made?
It was Stone Pillow, and we did take care of that already.
Yeah, we did get an answer on that.
Okay, I missed that. I was holding on. Well, I'll take another question.
Okay, let me throw this at you. During the I Love Lucy series, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz endorsed a brand of cigarettes in several TV commercials, magazine ads, and even a weekly Sunday comic strip. Name the brand of cigarettes, and you've named I Love Lucy's original sponsor.
I can't hear you very well, but was the cigarette Philip Morris?
That's it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because if those who listened to Kathleen earlier mentioned Philip Morris, and you said Kathleen. Oh, let me turn you over, Estelle, to Ed LeClaire, and anyway, because you have one. That's the third book, I guess we're giving away. But you had mentioned that when the series first started, that Philip Morris was thinking about canceling because they didn't think they had much of an audience.
Yeah, they didn't think the show was very good, and they wanted to bail out. They thought that they were going to waste their money. And fortunately, they couldn't do this. As Rick pointed out, things were a little different. I don't know if today an advertiser could cancel that quickly, but they were persuaded that it cost them more to get out of it than to continue with it, so they grudgingly continued, and of course they ended up with the hit, one of the great hits of all time. Strangely enough, Lucy actually preferred Chesterfields.
Oh, I see.
Yes, and one day one of the advertising men was in the booth and saw Lucy down on the set merrily smoking Chesterfields, and he raced down and put all her Chesterfields in a Philip Morris pack. So he was thereafter she had to put all her cigarettes in Philip Morris packs, but she continued to smoke Chesterfields.
That's kind of funny because
Isn't that funny?
I was a heavy smoker for a lot of years. I couldn't tell one brand from another. I smoked Camels. They seem to be stronger than other cigarettes, but if you give a cigarette smoker a taste test, I wonder how often that person would guess the correct brand. But anyway, that's a little aside from the point.
Exactly.
And a thing I'd like to also add too is we document the whole Lucy's really, her whole life is in this book, and we have a chapter devoted to all of the product endorsements that she did throughout the years. I mean, and in the early years, in the early 1940s, she was, promoting shoe polish and car batteries and waffle irons.
Oh, really?
And Chesterfield cigarettes was also something that she endorsed in magazine ads. Then, when the show, of course, took off, Philip Morris was where she was seen, promoting cigarettes. But also, she promoted Pepsi Cola in the early 40s, and then later switched over to RC. And it's just kind of interesting to look at all of the magazine ads and the old window signs and everything that's turned up, and it kind of shows, her as she changed throughout the years. So it's something I wanted to add regarding the Chesterfield.
Yes. One of the things I learned, and you would probably be able to enlighten me on this, there was a possibility, there was talk that she was going to endorse baby food after the birth of little Ricky. And she was persuaded by one of the men who worked with her, who in fact ran the company for her, told me for her and Desi that he persuaded her not to do that because he really felt that it would be a little bit, that it was incredible responsibility, and if anything went wrong with the baby food, it would be on her head.
Exactly, as that the communist scare was.
Oh, my dear, that was the worst thing that ever happened. It nearly killed her. She was accused of being a communist, and unlike most of the other poor victims who were accused of being communists in Hollywood, Lucy had actually registered to vote as a communist because her grandfather made her. So it was like an I Love Lucy episode that went horribly, horribly awry.
Well, now what year was that? Was this during the McCarthy era?
Yes, it was 1954, and Lucy, the House on Un-American Activities Committee was supposedly winding down, but I guess they needed a few more headlines. Oh. And they came across her registration to vote as a communist. And they interviewed her, and they were satisfied with her answers, but apparently they wanted more publicity because they called her back, and Walter Winchell got a hold of it. And Lucy was sitting in her home one Labor Day weekend and heard that the top comedian in America is being accused of being a communist. Well, Desi was down at Del Mar, and everybody ran in from all corners of all the important people, the people who were close to her, her publicity man, Ricky, and Desi, and the head, another publicity man, and somebody from MGM, actually, because they were coming out with Forever Darling. Or the Long, Long Trailer. I think it was the Long, Long Trailer. Anyway, so the man from MGM said, well, Lucy, maybe they think it's Imogene Coco. And Lucy said, don't be ridiculous. I am America's top comedian. So in the midst of all this horror, she wanted to make sure
the ego still was prevailed. That's
exactly. No, exactly. Absolutely. So Desi, this is when Desi Arnaz really showed what he was capable of in his finest hour, because after she was interviewed, both she and her mother and brother were called in. And I must say it was a bad day for the press, because although Lucy never voted as a communist, they ran something to indicate that she had been. Her registration was stamped not voted, but they deleted not voted. They were really going to. It was a witch hunt.
Oh, that was a terrible period.
That was a bad thing.
Maybe both of you are too young to remember that period. I think you both are. I'm not too young to remember that, and it was absolutely one of the darkest days in American history, where these animals and these congressional committees. I think it was H. Parnell Thomas, who was the head of the committee, the House On-American Activities Committee, and Joe McCarthy were nailing, particularly show people all over the place, in a very ugly manner. It was not a fun period to be viewing in. Anyway, I had to say that.
I mean, I think we need to know about these things. And Desi insisted that the committee make its findings public, and it was the first time, which was that they exonerated her, and it was the first time they ever came out from the shadows and exonerated somebody. And the way Desi insisted Lucy be treated was the way that after that, I think that the American public started to wake up because.
Well, I think by that time, there were a number of factors that changed the political picture quite a good deal. Edward R. Murrow was a great hero.
Yes.
In the sense that he revealed Joe McCarthy and really went after him when people were afraid to go after him. And also Joe Welch, who was the attorney for Army Secretary Stevens and for some of the other people who were accused, and looked at Joe McCarthy and said, have you no, I forget the exact words, have you no shame, have you no scruples? And he was such a decent-looking guy and was a decent man. And then his own committee, McCarthy's committee, began reprimanding him, and he finally died as a kind of a drunken bum, which he was the whole time anyway. It finally ended, while Dwight Eisenhower, who I admire, kind of stood on the sidelines, too above it all to say anything, even though some of his own people, like General Marshall, were being attacked. I think we're getting off on a
We are getting off the point, but it's important we all be vigilant about these things so that it never happen again.
That's right, and don't let these guys get away with this kind of stuff, because for political purposes or for their own self-ego, they got egos bigger than movie people and TV people have. Some of them will do almost anything. Some of them are very legitimate political people, but some are not. So watch out for who you vote for in the '96 election.
Exactly, and I'll tell you what, Lucy would never voted after that.
And you mentioned her grandfather told her to vote communist, or to register communist. He was a strong union person, as I recall from your book. He was
indeed a very strong union person, a follower of Eugene V. Debs, who was a pioneer socialist, and this was
a very decent guy, by the way.
He was a lovely, wonderful man.
I'm talking
of a kook, Grandpa.
Because I was talking about Eugene V. Debs.
Oh no, I don't. Yes, Eugene V. Debs.
I was a fan of his. See, I used to be president of my labor union. I think we'll get off this and get back to it.
I know. There's so much, so much, Norm. It's easy to do it, but Grandpa was quite a figure, and the thing is, it was at the height of the Depression, and he was most annoyed. But he didn't vote for the communists either. He ended up voting, for Roosevelt.
When I read in your book that he was a strong, not communist, but a strong union man, I thought, hey, he's my kind of guy.
You would have liked him.
Yeah. Anyway, Rick, let me ask you. We'll take some more calls because the lines are all jammed.
If I could jump in for a second,
please do.
Kind of go back to the original question. We got sidetracked, but Kathleen asked about the baby food.
Yes.
That's something I honestly don't know about, but I have to believe that there's so much that was considered that wasn't done.
Right.
Because I do know, that when the baby was born, it was, little Ricky was the $50 million baby, and there was a knitting yarn company that packaged I Love Lucy knitting yarn, and there were I Love Lucy potty chairs and crib mattresses and dressing tables and, nursery suites and diaper bags and rocking horses. There was a whole line of merchandise that was kind of cashed in on the birth of Little Ricky because it was something that all of America, it was in the headlines, as you mentioned. So I don't doubt that at one time, there was someone probably knocking on their door wanting her to promote baby food as well.
One question before we go to the phones, because a lot of people want to try another shot at getting the book called For the Love of Lucy, The Complete Guide for Collectors and Fans by Rick Wyman. Are there things that are tremendously valuable about Lucille Ball that you have not come across, or what are some of the most valuable things that you have come across that are in the book?
That's a question that's asked a lot.
I hate to ask questions that are asked a lot. I feel badly, but please answer it anyway.
It's a good question because everybody wants to know this. The first issue of TV Guide is very collectible for obvious reasons, it being the first issue, of course. And being a Lucy cover, there's, you've got a couple different groups of people wanting it. There's also a Desi Arnaz toy conga drum that was put out in the early 50s, which is a tough piece. It's very scarce. And that was something I just came across a few months ago. But there's a Lucy rag doll from the early 50s. So much of the stuff, is paper, though. So you can collect it, and you don't have to really, have an entire room devoted to it. But I know a lot of collectors that do have that. The conga drum, the TV guide, there's a variety of things that are tough to find. And really, if you look at it, the majority of this stuff was never intended to be collected. Lucy and Desi were pictured on a Christmas carton of Philip Morris cigarettes for 2 Christmas seasons in 52 and 53. And, that carton today, back then, you took the cigarettes and you threw out the container because who would have kept it? The few that survive, and exist today are certainly sought after. Lucy was pictured on the carton of Pepsodent toothpaste in the 60s. And, that's kind of like throwing out a candy wrapper today. Who would keep that stuff?
Yeah.
So that's the fun of it, because so much of this stuff was never intended to be saved. And, supply and demand kind of determine the value.
Because you've got some great pictures in the books of all these things, and I wondered how you do that. How you got the nice clean mementos that you could put in the book.
Well, when we the book really all came about after I put a manuscript together while I was working through college, and when I graduated in '93, I wrote to Lucy Arnaz and told her what I had put together and asked her if she was interested in taking a look. And she called me and said, this is great, and would you mind if I took it to a publisher I know? So she kind of acted as my agent, and from there, everything kind of fell into place. And Abbeville, there was concern whether or not, how we were going to photograph everything, because there's definitely value involved here, and a lot of this stuff can't be replaced because it is so old and so tough to find that they had to come to me to photograph. So they flew a designer in from New York City, and he and I worked together for a week with the photo studio and getting everything to look just the way it should.
That's great. Where do you live, Rick?
I'm in Wisconsin right now.
Oh, all right.
And we are battling. I think you're probably getting the weather that just left us.
Yeah,
that's true.
We're getting mostly rain right now. It didn't come down as strongly as we expected it might. But what about stuff pertaining to Desi Arnaz? Is that worth anything, or do you deal with that at all? And what about the kids, the son and the daughter?
Sure. There's a chapter in the book called. It's a musical chapter, and we have a variety of old Desi Arnaz 78s and some music magazines with him pictured on the cover, because he was a big band leader. Before he became Ricky Ricardo, he was, an orchestra leader. And I have one of the playbills from the Broadway show Too Many Girls that he was doing in New York when Lucy was, the whole idea in Hollywood to develop the film version for Too Many Girls. Desi was doing it on Broadway. So they pulled him, because he did such a great job, to Hollywood to kind of take over the film role. And that's really, as Kathleen had mentioned earlier, how they met and how it all happened. So that playbill from 1939 or whatever it was is there as well. And Desi Arnaz, I think a lot of the collectible material certainly stems from the musical area. But, when they became America's favorite couple, too, he's right next to her on those TV guide covers and on the coloring book pages and comic books and, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, let's take a couple of more calls, and there are a couple of more questions I want to ask you guys. This is it Pam? Is your name P-A-M, Pam? In Everett?
Yeah.
In Everett, okay, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Actually, would it be okay if I asked a question?
Absolutely.
I heard that she had interviewed Lucy, back in, what was it, 83?
That's 86.
86. Did you ever get another chance to talk to her after that one interview, or?
Unfortunately not. She was just beginning her last series, and so she was exceedingly busy, and after that series, I think she just withdrew. She had it. She was really demoralized when that failed, even though I think she expected it. When I interviewed her, she was very nervous about starting the show. She made no bones about it. And
Yeah,
I think
I don't remember that being very successful.
no, it was not. And I think she did it mostly because her husband, Gary, wanted her to do it. And Aaron Spelling, with the best of intentions, offered her a lot of money. But they were just... Lucy seemed to be magic, but more than magic was required. A lot of thought and good scripts, and there just wasn't time for that.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty young to have grown up with Lucy, but I did.
Well, 3 generations have grown up with Lucy, Fortunately...
when I was a kid, I lived on those reruns.
Yeah.
Okay, you're ready for a question then, are you now, Pat?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay, in the 1970s, Lucille Ball could be seen on the box lids of several children's board games, including Pivot Golf, Body Language, and Cross Up. Name the well-known toy company who signed Lucy to endorse their games.
I would say Milton Bradley.
That's it. Milton
Oh,
Bradley's
good.
the answer.
We have a 4th book we've given away. And
Excellent.
Rick, Pam, thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Nathan.
Okay, thank you. Oh, he called me Mr. Nathan. That is so nice. Okay, here's Dee Dee down in Charleston, West Virginia. Hi, Dee Dee.
Hi, Norm. Great show tonight.
Well, thank you very much. Can you teach me how to talk like you talk?
I hope not. I sure hope not.
I can teach you, let's see, I can teach you how to talk New England if you want to talk like a Maine or New Hampshire.
I don't know why anybody would want to talk like we do.
Maybe you're right, Dee Dee, now that I think
Well, I
of
can
it.
tell you, Lucille Ball's mother was named Dee Dee, and she adored her. So this is very nice that a Dee Dee has phoned in.
That's
Well,
right.
then I just have to win a book, right?
Okay, you can win a book. I'll turn you over to Rick, see if you can win a book.
Well, we're going to make this one easy. I like her already. Lucille Ball and Lucy Ricardo were both originally from what New York City?
From what New York City? Oh, good grief, yeah, that's really easy. I'll just take a guess, Albany.
I'm afraid not.
Sorry.
I thought you'd catch it. We spoke about it earlier tonight.
No, I didn't get in until about 12 something. So
Norm?
I just heard about 12:30.
You know what, Norm? Let's give this lady a book anyway.
Well, what a kind person you are, Rick. You're falling in love with this lady from Charleston, West
See
Virginia,
what a
aren't you?
southern drawl will do for you.
All right, okay, we'll give her a book.
Thanks, you're great.
Okay, thanks a lot. Stay tuned there, Dee Dee. And anyway, Ed LeClaire's talking with. That's the 5th book now. We've given them all away. My goodness sakes. I had one other question I was going to ask you guys. This one had to do with the marriage. When you mentioned Gary,
yes.
Were you talking about Gary Marshall?
Morton, right.
Okay, I'm sorry, Gary Morton, of course, who was married to her. Did the Arnazes, that is Lucille and Desi, did they get along okay? Did he have a roving eye? Was there a problem there?
Desi, unfortunately, did have a roving eye, and Lucy might have been able to cope with that, except it started to become public, which she could not bear. And I think it was according to the people that knew them, it was the drinking that really finally was more than she could stand, because he, became a proverbial shadow of himself. He was a talented man who took on so many projects and burned himself out. Maybe today, when so much help is available and we know more about alcoholism and these things, maybe he would have gotten some help, which he desperately needed. They were two volatile people. They were passionately involved with each other. Sometimes they loved each other as much, they hated each other as much as they loved each other, but it was an extraordinary relationship, and I
and a very fruitful one. And and they ultimately could not live together.
Okay, yeah, that is very, very sad. You guys have been just great. I've been delighted to have you both on. And Kathleen Brady, author of Lucille, The Life of Lucille Ball, which should be available at. You mentioned one major.
I mentioned Barnes & Noble. It should be everywhere, and but
we certainly like to think that, don't we?
We do love to think that, Rick. We could have quite a chat about that.
And Rick Wyman is the author of For the Love of Lucy, the complete guide for collectors and fans. And you mentioned a number of places it was available. Also, you mentioned being published by Abbeville Press and a 1-800 number that if people could not find it, they could find out where it was at 1-800-ART, ARTBOOK, 1-800-ART-BOOK. Do you know what the numbers are for that? We have some. The reason I say that is we have some people who are blind. Well, I guess they wouldn't want the book, though, then would they?
Maybe Kathleen's book was available on tape. Or they could order it and have someone read it to them. So yes, Norm, always give the numbers associated with the letters. Thank you. Those were 2 very entertaining hours of Mr. Nathan, his guests, and callers, too. We'll be back next week for another round of Norm Nathan's Vault of Silliness. Closing the vault and leaving this world a little sillier than we found it. 4, calling one by their first name. Food facts in chef secrets and kitchen reference books. The marvels of baking soda. Holiday tips and tricks. Frozen pantyhose.
Woo!
And postage stamps. Salty hams. Turning things upside down. Oxidation. Flaky pie crusts. Grandmother's secrets. Spud facts. Chestnuts not roasting in an open microwave. Office parties. Beans. Salt. Icy onions. Well-hydrated chickens. The incredible edible egg. Fun fennel facts. DJ impressions. Singing elevator operators. Norm's radio courting and wooing of Norma. Jack's street wooing of Monine. Yodeling. Mark Warno and his studio orchestra. Nick at Night. Norm's late appreciation of Abbott and Costello. Horrible sounds that go right through your body. Abbeville Press. Getting warm all over. The Red Scare. Desi Arnaz, The Allure of the Southern Drawl. The Great Lucille Ball, Julia Child, Dr. Myles Bader, Rick Wyman, Kathleen Brady, Eddie LeClaire, Jack Hart, and the radio